Hello there, everyone. You know who I am, E.T. Templar, alien crusader from beyond the heavens, here to entertain and destroy through the power of me magic. And in this review, I'm talking about Little Caesar, which recently I've been watching a lot of Turner's classic movies. So it's like anything from the 30s to the 60s and 70s. And so far, I haven't been led astray once with a bad movie. It's so true what they say about the golden age of cinema, which was like the 30s to the 70s, and then after that things just went downhill. And although if you see the cover here, there is no scene where he's leaning outside the car with a Tommy gun, and I know that back in the day they had to sell tickets. It doesn't happen in the movie. It would have been cool if it did, but if they were to make a remake of this, uh, it would be so fantastic. And I'll avoid spoilers here, but it has one of those endings where it just lets you down. And of course, if you don't know the story to Little Caesar, the story to Little Caesar is Rico is a small-time hood who knocks off gas stations for whatever he can take. He heads east and signs up with Sam Bertoli's mob. A New Year's Eve robbery to Little Arnie's Lorch's casino results in the death of a new crime commissioner, Alvin McClure. So basically, unintentionally, a cop gets caught up in this robbery and gets shot, which eventually, there's no spoilers, but it does affect the story quite a bit. And the cool thing about Little Caesar and the way how Edward G. Robinson portrays his character, it's supposed to he played it like an Al Capone kind of character. Of course, he's like Italian, and he has like this kind of nasally voice to him, and how he plays Caesar is just so spot on. And the acting in these Golden Age movies are just eons ahead. And even though if they were to make this movie, like let's say this movie never existed, and they made this movie today, it would be like a bad independent B movie. But back in the day, I think this was nominated and/or won some Oscars. But the thing to these Golden Age cinema movies is that they're filled with so much charm. They ooze charm, they ooze story. And even though in the story there's not so much like a lot of like gory action or stuff like that, it's just one of those classic kind of noir-esque movies. And you follow Little Caesar's career through of this movie, and you end up rooting for this character because he's like this nobody, and he joins into of course this other mob where he robs and unintentionally kills a police officer. Then he kind of starts taking over the other groups, and of course the ending I didn't appreciate at all, because of course, I kind of already spoiled the movie there. But if you cut to a scene here where he's at the gas station, the writing for these older style movies are just so rich, so believable, and you like all these characters, even like the side characters and the side gang members in this film, even though they don't really get much of a story. Everything's interesting. And again, to say this about, Golden Era movies, there's just, again, so much charm. The characters. And even though Little Caesar is like this criminal, turd that ends up killing a police officer, you kind of feel for him as you watch his rise from basic, like, muscle man to, like, kingpin. And of course, to get back, if they remade this, I wouldn't change much to the story. I would put in a chase scene where he's hanging outside the door with the Tommy gun. I would put that as a new scene in the film, but I would have the ending end with either Little Caesar or Rico Bandello getting away, or you leave the ending open to where you let the viewer decide. Maybe he got shot by the police. Maybe he got away. But yeah, this movie was just fantastic, man. And at a time with Hollywood and all these, to no offense to you, I know there's people out there who dig the superhero movies and love them very much, but in a movie era that's inflated with just garbage and superhero cape movies, that in my opinion are um, pretty old and lame. This was such a breath of fresh air, and to really enjoy cinema, you have to go back to this golden age of cinema and just watch these older style movies. Sure, like this movie again, it is kind of low action and it's more story. But damn, do you get sucked into these worlds of these older golden era movies? You just fall into them, and the characters are believable, and there's rarely ever, to my knowledge, or the ones I've seen, there's rarely any political message or horseshit, political propaganda they put into it to hit you over the head with. And these movies are just fantastic. And another movie I've been watching was Rebel Without a Cause, that by that guy James Dean. I think hopefully I got that right. And again, these movies are just fantastic. And even to get on a side tangent here, I watched this crappy B sci-fi movie in the 70s. It was called like Death Race or Death Sport, where they're on motorcycles. And that one was just as good too. And again, if you avoid like even these older black and white movies like Little Caesar here, you're really missing out on just the gem of cinema before it all turned to shit. And that's all I gotta say. This movie is fantastic. I freaking loved it, even though usually I'm like a hardcore action fan. Maybe it's just me and my like. As I age, I begin to appreciate like story and character building over like action and like dumb violence. But there's something to hear to enjoy if you're a fan of the gangster mob series. And from what I saw just momentarily before doing this video was saying it started like the gangster genre. And it really did. Because, again, from that opening scene where you see them in the gas station just talking, oh, why can't I be that guy? I never had my chance. Right? Shoot first and then get after. And these movies have such quotable lines that will stick with you. And again, the characters, it just oozes class, story, and everything else. They're great frickin' movies, even though the ending of this one had me pretty frickin' mad. They're great movies. So I would recommend Little Caesar if you have Hulu or have access to Turner's classic movies. You will undoubtedly come across something you will like and thoroughly enjoy on Turner Classic Movies. But then again, I'm a weirdo when it comes to cinema, and most people in this current age, this stuff is not going to strike your fancy because you're used to big budget, like 3D animated horse shit and superhero movies. And that's, if it's one thing about the Golden Age, if you have real respect for film and cinema, this is just my opinion here, you will find anything in the Golden Age of cinemas from the 30s to right up to the 70s. There's bound to be something that you'll fall in love with. So this movie, definitely recommend it. It's a good watch, even though it's in black and white and the audio is kind of terrible, but it's just fantastic. So see you guys next time. Hopefully you enjoyed this video of Kaiser, or not Kaiser, but E.T. reviews, E.T. Templar reviews rather. So yeah, if you can see this movie, see it. And Turner's Classic Movies is just a great channel, and I'm glad I started watching that channel network, because there really are some old school Hollywood gems that just modern Hollywood doesn't have a grip on. There's no charm anymore in modern Hollywood movies, but if you find these movies, you can go back to a time before it lost that, before it lost its character, and before it lost its charm. See you guys next time. God bless, stay safe, and see you next time.